Whatever the weather, it's time to look at the weathering. And that's the weathering on this another model from Diecast Masters Weathered series. This one is the Caterpillar 320F hydraulic excavator. The box has a protective sleeve, and when we remove that we see the box proper inside, and that's a high quality cardboard arrangement with a nice photo of the model. The hinged lid opens up and is a supporting ribbon to keep it in place. And the first thing we see is a Diecast Masters mini brochure, and this one is dated 2019. After that we're confronted with pieces of foam rubber, and there's quite a few of them providing lots of protection to the parts inside. There is artwork inside the lid and also around the sides of the box. But let's pull out what's inside, and we start with a resin base. After that the giant hand crane only has one more job to do, and that's lift out the model. And there's one last job for the packaging removal engineer to do, and that is to remove the protection from the crawler tracks. Assembly, you are having a laugh. All you need to do is position the base and put the model on it. Let's start with the included base, and it's made of resin and it's actually quite heavy. It has a textured surface which I suppose is trying to replicate a sandy and stony surface, and overall it looks quite decent. Moving to the model, and the metal crawler tracks have the look as though the paint has been rubbed off the tracks and bare metal is showing. The central base is plastic and there is detailing on the underside of the body. Here we see another view of the crawler tracks with their worn look, and that also extends to the rest of the track frame, and you can see that the look is more of worn metal rather than dirty metal. Inside the cab is an operator, but he's not removable on this version of the model. The rest of the cab detailing is good, including mirrors and lights. Behind the cab there is something of a dirty look applied, and there's other detail including small graphics. Looking from the back, and a dirty look has been applied to the counterweight and also to the panels on the side. There are some other pleasing details including steps with a fine grillage, and the fin handrails are metal. Looking down on the model there's a mass of hydraulic hoses in the centre well, and there are textured walking surfaces. The engine cover also has a slight dirt effect. There's some nice hydraulic details on the boom and some weathering also, but it's clear this machine hasn't seen too many hours of work yet. Looking at the stick, the rivets are painted, and there's wear marks on the side and bottom of the bucket. Back we go underneath again, and the crawler tracks can be rotated by hand, and they are of a stiffer variety rather than free rolling. The crawler tracks are tensioned with a spring-loaded idler, laughing out loud, and moving out onto the cranes etc. test track, the crawler tracks roll reasonably well if you apply some downward pressure. As you would expect, you can rotate the machine, and it's very stable, although it is a bit stiff. Time to boom up and see what we can do, and on the review model the boom is a little bit loose at the top end. The stick however is fine with a good stiffness, and there's also a decent range of movement on the bucket. As always though, we like to see if we can fold up nice and small. And we can. But sometimes you just have to dig deep, and in this regard the model is pretty good, with the bucket able to reach well below the machine. Of course a model like this always looks good posed with others, and it goes particularly well with a dump truck, although it would be nice if the truck was similarly dirty. Another display option is to give the model a lift on a suitable low loader. This is another interesting model in the Diecast Masters Weathered series, and on this one the degree of weathering is fairly light, but it does make for an interesting display, particularly on the resin base. Or as always, you can also pose it with other models. Overall, this model is rated as very good.